You can say plenty of things about Zenless Zone Zero. That it's gacha slop, that it's gooner bait, that it may be low-key sexist. And honestly, you'd be right. However, I would be remiss to mention that ZZZ does have a great amount of going for it. It has the most unique art style of any Hoyoverse game, the gameplay is incredibly addicting, and most importantly for the sake of this video, it has some great characters. Quite a lot of characters have great stories tied to them, such as Lighter and Miyabi, and if they don't, they are at least pretty likable, like Bernice or Ellen. After all, this is a gacha game. The foremost priority is trying to get people to pay for characters by endearing you to them immediately, which makes it very funny to me that Asaba Harumasa exists. Harumasa, to me, feels like a bit of the antithesis to what a gacha character should be. His design is relatively plain, not having the striking designs that most of the men have, and not having the appeal of the women in the cast. His personality isn't winning much awards in universal appeal, where he can very easily be irritating based on how much you like his trope. Not to mention, there probably wasn't much hype for him in the first place since he was released as a free 5-star right alongside Miyabi, our first Void Hunter who was busted when she first released. All signs were showing that Harumasa was going to be a flop, and in some aspects he was. However, for me, Harumasa easily became one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. I absolutely adore this guy, and today I want to go into why that is. Obviously, there will be spoilers up to the end of Chapter 4 of Season 1, as well as his own story chapters, so if you have not gotten to this point yet, I urge you to watch the video later after you have experienced it for yourself. Oh, and I won't be going over his character trailer. It's an incredible piece of foreshadowing and art, but I don't really know a proper place to put it. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. When the game first released, Harumasa wasn't shown off too much. He just showed up as an NPC a few times in side quests and such, as well as the first Hollow Zero quest line. From this quest, we really only get a baseline of who Harumasa is, and that is that he is one of the members of the highly acclaimed Section 6. And that's it. Yeah, this introduction doesn't really do anything to really tell you much about Harumasa other than he might be the straight man of the group. Even then, that's not really indicative of his actual role, so his introduction really isn't all that notable. The next time we get to see Harumasa is during Yanagi's story mission, where we actually get to see his proper introduction. Harumasa is portrayed as a grade A slacker, and trying to make up excuses to get out of work. He's pretty laid back and jokes around a lot, which also often makes him the butt of the jokes with Section 6. Outside of this characterization and showing of his relationships, he still doesn't get much time to shine in the story, which makes sense, this is Yanagi's story primarily. But I was really worried about his character when I first started playing the game. While my original account is long gone, I started that account around Astra's debut. From that, I was able to get the free Harumasa and was generally liking his vibe and playstyle. So his portrayal early on as being the butt of everyone's jokes and being the first one to become a bank boo in the story, that's a long story, made me really worried that he would be a flop. However, part of me feels like this is on purpose. It's not uncommon for characters to put up these facades of being incompetent as a means to subvert expectations, and the next story chapter does start to show off Harumasa in a bit of a better limelight. This story chapter is mainly on the conclusion of Season 1's overarching story, and to highlight Miyabi more than anything, but Harumasa still has his chance to shine. For instance, when Section 6 is initially skeptical of the main group, he's shown to be just as serious as the rest of the group when things get serious. He's also the most level-headed of Section 6 when Miyabi gets arrested, showing a lot of maturity in the face of Yanagi, who is supposed to be the one tying the group together. Finally, Harumasa is part of the team that gets the fight Bringer, who is pretty much the final boss of Season 1. Partway through the fight, Harumasa started breathing heavily, which very much implies that his body isn't quite as stable as the others in the group. Despite this, he's still part of the fight till the very end, and gets the initial kill on Bringer before he gets revived with an epic arrow shot. Even though he puts off this air of being lazy, he still puts his maximum effort into tasks that matter most to him. All of that, though, was preamble. If this was all we got of Harumasa, he would be a solid enough character who is charming enough, but ultimately wouldn't make that much of a splash. However, in the same update as this chapter, we got his own character story, which is where all of my love for the character came from. The chapter starts with us learning why Harumasa was so exhausted from the previous battle, with his excuse being that he's been sick ever since he was a kid. Not only this, but we get to know a bit more about his upbringing, where he didn't know his parents and instead was raised by some master. Though the way he states this is his usual joking way, so it's hard to really tell if he's telling the truth or if he's just faking things to get out of work. Stepping away from that topic for now, the main plot starts in the form of Yanagi mentioning a drug that increases ether aptitude, which would be great if it wasn't for the awful side effects. Harumasa takes interest in this case, but only confronts the proxy on the issue. During Harumasa's own investigation, he runs into public security, along with Seth, where we find out they came from the same academy. How nice! Though the police think they found a sample of the drug, Harumasa is able to quickly discern it's a fake through smell. How curious. Not long after, though, a kid walks up to the group and turns into an ethereal, right in front of everyone. After they're dealt with, we then find out that the kid had ether aptitude regression syndrome, a disease that, well, in layman's terms, shortens the lives of those affected by it. We find this out by Kirishima, a man that used to know Harumasa. While he's immediately suspicious, I'm glad that the story doesn't beat around the bush, and Harumasa immediately knows something's up with him. Despite this, Kirishima wants Harumasa's help to find his master, who is the one who developed the drug. After the mission, Harumasa confides in the proxy with his past and about Harumasa's master, and his reaction really sticks with me. I can relate to how Harumasa feels, having someone as close as family do things that you can't condone. The sort of hurt and betrayal you feel with that person despite what they've done for you. It immediately warmed me up to Harumasa a lot, and this was just the first part of this 3-part story. The second part immediately starts with Harumasa inviting the proxy for a meal. Sounds really nice until he says that Kirishima is the one treating. Nah, but don't worry about that. He also invited 3 kids suffering from ether aptitude regression syndrome, which I'll now shorten to EARS, to show his new occupation in helping people like them. Ain't that sweet? Yeah, no one is buying it, and especially not Harumasa. At the end of their dinner, Seth actually pops up and arrests Kirishima for questioning. While hesitant, he does take up Harumasa's offer for him to take the kids back, but it's very obvious that he's sketchy. This part of the story is mainly all about Harumasa and the proxy hanging out with these kids who, because of their condition and heavy monitoring, don't really get to see the outside world that often. We learn that the kid that turned into an ethereal the other day was a friend of theirs, and that the kid named Kana was the most hurt from all this. That's because Kirishima has been the one developing the drug and enhancing it, and has also been using spinal fluids from EARS patients to do so. Kana and the other kids are a victim of these fluid extractions, and Kana was originally going to be used as an experiment before the other kid took their place. Despite that, Harumasa is able to have a heart-to-heart with Kana about everything and is actually really sincere about the whole thing. This interaction right here really spoke to me. Tell me, if we're destined from birth to live only a brief, painful life, what's the point of trying so hard to live? Oof, it's a pretty heavy question. For me though, it's because I want to believe that something good will happen. Like you, I spent most of my childhood in a hospital room because of my condition. But now, at least, I can stand in a place where I can feel the wind. A lot of archers don't like the wind because it messes with their aim. But I love it. It gives me the sense of freedom. Anyway, back on topic. This is your life, Kana. You have to decide what you're living for. But if you really don't want to live anymore, well, there's nothing much I can say. Don't you guys ever get tired of people shouting, "Stay strong," and "You've got to keep going," like they're selling some self-help course? It gets annoying, right? Yeah, hearing that can feel like salt in the wound. But no matter what, being a survivor in your own heart is better than just being a victim, right? Even Shinya. I bet he never saw himself as a victim. Harumasa's consulting his own views on freedom and his down-to-earthness with someone who might not even live past 30 is honestly incredibly heartwarming. The way he talks to Kana is in a very sympathetic way, and that's, well, because Harumasa also has EARS, and was also part of the experimentation to create this drug from his master. Despite all of this, he still puts his best foot forward. Harumasa still wants to continue living, just from the simple fact that he thinks something good will come of it. Which, after him and the proxy devise a plan to bust Kirishima, ends part 2. It was at this point where I was completely hooked on Harumasa. These moments of vulnerability where he talks about his past are some of the best interactions between the proxy and other characters, and makes me really buy the bond between the two of them. And finally, part 3 begins with Harumasa gearing up for another leave request because of the operation he's planned with the proxy. Of course, he doesn't mention that, and he gives them thanks for everything. The others are caught off guard, but still give their regards to his little vacation. He then goes into the hollow with Kirishima and slowly starts to get weaker, just like he did in the main story. While the proxy tries to talk him out of it, Harumasa is resolved to figure out why his master was in on this operation, and he has a moral obligation to take down Kirishima. Eventually, Harumasa calls out Kirishima's plan after they find the ethereal with the booster drug. Only the ethereal is actually Harumasa's master. Even with Harumasa's deteriorating body, he continues onwards. One quote I really love right before the big moment is when he says, "Don't worry, no one values my life more than I do." Harumasa knows the value of his own life, and is willing to risk it all to stop anyone else from going through the pain that he has. He doesn't do it for glory, and despite his usual carefree and lazy demeanor, he's determined to do this for the greater good, even if it means certain death. Harumasa takes out his old master and then...
Are you okay? Is it your illness?
Well done, Harumasa. I'll go ahead and take what he left behind. Looks like you can't see your humor anymore.
Hey, give us back the key!
Who do you think you are? Just stay here. You won't survive for much longer.
Damn it! I won't let you... Harumasa! Harumasa, wake up! Stay with me! Where am I? Everyone...
Tell me, will we ever get to feel the wind again?
It's not over yet! I still have unfinished business.
Listen to me, Harumasa.
Master.
The essence of archery is not to be sought from the outside. It resides within you. Each time you pull the string.
Harumasa then picks up the booster drug, but even if it's discarded, it can still be used for evil. So Harumasa injects it into himself, knowing full well that it would kill him. Before the story ends, we get one more flashback with Harumasa and his master. We learn that his master was more of a victim of circumstances rather than some purely evil person who used Harumasa for his own benefit. He was a kind man who was put in a terrible position, and the last thing he says to Harumasa, knowing the context, it's just heartbreaking. Only for the text box right afterward to tell us that Harumasa is just fine. Yeah, in the moment, I was kinda taken out of the scene because of this. While I was glad to see him alive, I thought it was a bit contrived for him to come back. But there is a reason for why I'm okay with it. But that's explained in the middle of this ending, so I'm going to go a bit out of order. The next scene afterwards shows Harumasa fully recovered with his teammates congratulating him on a job well done. It's honestly really sweet to see them be so nice to Harumasa when he tended to be the butt of the jokes. As for the last bit of the quest, we see the other kids that Kirishima was holding on to being able to live their lives more comfortably. Their effects aren't reversed, but now they have the freedom to make whatever they want from their lives. And one particular interaction that's easy to miss is on the dock with the other members of Section 6. Now, since this is a gacha game, they aren't going to mess with the status quo with characters when it comes to future events. So I was worried that future events would have everyone shitting on Harumasa despite the fact that they now know about his condition, but they explain it away so naturally. Harumasa makes the request to treat him just the same as they always did because, well, in his eyes he sees these guys as family. He wants the vibes to stay as cozy as they always were. So it's a really sweet scene that keeps spoilers away from future events in case you play those before the story. Lastly, my one problem is how it was resolved. The real last scene in my eyes is with the Proxy and Harumasa on the rooftop, with them talking about the aftermath of the whole situation. Stuff like shutting down Kirishima's operation as a whole, how Harumasa's revival was a miracle of modern medicine, and how the funeral for his master would happen soon. Harumasa learns to, in a sense, take the good with the bad with how his master treated him. When asked if he forgives his master, he just says it's more like acceptance, which, as someone who had to deal with complicated people in my life who were confusing to put a good or bad label on, really resonates with me. Though he also gets a phone call at that moment, which really puts at ease my only problem. The drug that Harumasa took was actually more of a vaccine to save Harumasa, which implies that his master had Harumasa's best interest in heart. Harumasa gives you an impossible choice, which I pray to God does not come back later in the future. Hoyoverse, if you tear my heart out like that, I'm going to end you! But that's the end of Harumasa's quest. I know he appears in future stories and events, but this is it for his main arc, and it's easily my favorite story Hoyoverse has ever told. Harumasa isn't cured by the end. He knows that eventually he's going to die, and a lot sooner than most others would. Despite that, he still takes fate in his own hands and vows to make the most of it. His charming personality, at least for me, was an easy way for me to get endeared by him early on, and because of it, I was engaged fully in his story. As I get ready to get into Season 2, which I heard is not that great, I wonder if I'll get another story as good as this one. Whether or not I do, I'm still grateful to this game for giving me one of my favorite characters of all time. What a nice little conclusion, right? Well, that's what I originally thought until, well, I took way too long to make this video. We got Season 3 confirmed, and it's not looking all that great. ZZZ is kind of in a weird position where it's kind of been going downhill for a while. And while I still want to play the game, I question if I'll ever really be able to make one of these videos for ZZZ again. I hope that I'm proven wrong in the future and that, like, good things will happen with it. But for now, I'm gonna be distancing myself from ZZZ content. Maybe someday in the future, not today though. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe if you want to. I'll be making some content soon again, so be on the lookout for that. Until next time, see ya.